What's it all about? What's it mean? August 2022. Power up, power up. Let's do this thing. Have some cards? Hey friends, Peter Bowden here. I want to talk congregations and some issues as we're moving into the fall. I know that many clergy, religious professionals, staff, volunteer leaders, congregations as a whole, really struggling right now. I just want to share a few insights just to help you orient your mindset as you move into this new year. All right, but I've got some cards, and I have 2 trainings I'm working on. One's going to be released starting next week. That's my new video strategy, updated video strategy course, and then a small group course coming after that. But I just want to talk to you right now while you're like getting oriented to the new year. So first, many of you are still trying to reach back for normal. All right. And I think it's important that you recognize that the normal I see congregations grasping for isn't just a pre-pandemic normal, it's a pre-digital normal. So I want you to think about digital technology and like the extent to which people have devices. They're looking at media, entertainment, news, everything. The way we spend our lives, our work, just use devices, that there's been a digital flood. And now we're in, you ever see Waterworld, what was that Kevin Costner movie? That the tide has risen, this digital tide, and now congregations start thinking of yourselves as you are this big structure with lots of capacity potentially to gather people together and live in this increasingly digitally oriented world. So we're trying to reach people in this digital sea. Like that is the context of your ministry. So there are certain things we have to learn, certain strategies I think we really need to implement. You look at where the world is today with online video, everything, just we are digitally saturated. Now, a lot of you are having trouble because membership is down. Well, the goodness that you are offering, meaning, connection, love, inspiration, vision for the world, all the star and the heart represent the goodness, your mission, vision, all that you offer. Right? You like my little cartoon? So for people who are not already connected to your congregation, these good things are essentially trapped, locked away in a way that they can't access. And you're like, well, this is not locked away. We're live streaming or putting services online. The majority of your congregations on your websites, there's all this information, and you say, come anytime. All right, so first, that's not helping people who are looking right there in that moment. I talk about like people are in this instant mode, this brief mode of research, trying to verify. When they hear about you, it's like, is this right for me? And they're looking to like get connected, form relationships, have all their questions answered quickly. So we need to have that content for them. I recommend using video to welcome, greet, and orient people and get them into a newcomer event when they land on your website. But a lot of you, and I've reviewed a lot of websites, including over the past month, you're using a strategy where you say, come anytime, and you kind of assume that people are going to get involved by going to your worship services. In our world today, given that you have worship services recorded and online or live streamed online, no one's going to go to an on-site service without first checking out the online, right? Of course not. I've tried watching these services. You have great content in them, like gold, these things in your services, but it's wrapped in this larger container of a long form worship service that for people who don't already know the people in your congregation, where there's no relationship, where they're not already connected to those people, it's almost impossible in terms of like online attention to stick with those services long enough to get to the goods. And that's where the bars come in. So we have to change that. So what I think you need to focus on is in this digital sea here, people are looking for connection, community, meaning, people who are in sync with your mission, your vision, what you're about. Like, the only way in our world today, I think, to like this viable models to help people participate is to get them in lifeboats. And for me, that's small groups where they have a handful of people that they're getting to know. They are not just like doing social media. They're actually talking to people, whether it's on Zoom or meeting outside in someone's yard, a park, your church campus, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, your congregation, online, offline. We can deliver connection, community, facilitate spiritual exploration, whatever your religious tradition is, in a way that fulfills like the core of your mission, and it gets people out of that digital sea, addresses social isolation, and actually, once people connect through relationship, you don't have to keep working to get them back. So what happens is when you're, let me go back. if someone's not in a small group, say you get all these little lifeboats here. These are all your small groups. Maybe that's your sanctuary. If someone's not in a small group, what happens week after week? They're just getting they're drifting away. The forces of life, their attention. They're going to watching Stranger Things on Netflix, other media, checking out YouTubers. I've talked to multiple people over the summer who have been connected to congregations, are feeling like they're hungry for congregational life, but they don't have a sense of what's going on. They've lost touch with what's happening in the congregation, and they're drifting. And they know they're suffering from it, but they need something to bridge the distance between where they are and what's happening in congregational life. So for me, if you want to deliver like on your mission, your vision, and actually have a viable congregation, we need to really focus on getting people into the lifeboats, small groups, which means your ministry model, your model for congregational life, I think, and this is my opinion based on years of working with congregations, small groups, small group ministry, and social media and digital strategy, and welcoming, hospitality, membership development, that in our digitally oriented world, that's a stormy world with more trouble brewing, fascism, climate change, like, let's not go into too much about that. The model that I think is going to work for many of you, if not most or all of you, is that you need to get people into the lifeboats. Those are small groups if you want them to be in relationship with the congregation. Now, they can be different kinds of groups: general, spiritual exploration, community groups, small group ministry, covenant groups, all these different kinds of groups, parenting group, young adult group, campus ministry group, youth group. If you have a church that's kind of a congregation that's your membership has collapsed over the last couple of years, you might start organizing family groups where a couple of families are coming together, and it's designed such that parents are talking about issues. There can be intergenerational conversation. There can be parents taking turns doing activities outside with kids while others talk. But we can just use this structure across different age spans to bring people into relationship. Through relationship, that's how we lock people into relationship with the congregation. So no lifeboat, then you should just assume they're going to drift away. Now, these could be service groups, projects, anything that's a long-term relational group with a real purpose. But you have your general small groups for the congregation, that anyone can join, and then more affinity groups, project-based groups, service teams. And then now, what about worship? A lot of you are struggling because you're putting all of your energy into like hybrid worship services, and you're trying to deliver the goods, fulfill your mission through a big worship service. I think you need to focus on groups first, like that is like, how do we actually, for the people who are drowning, who are adrift, who are suffering, who want to work with us on the mission and vision of our congregation, you got to get them in a group. Like, get them in a lifeboat first. What happens in your worship services then? This is like going to more like deeper, small group congregational organizing. Think of that as this is the organizing, like where you're pulling together people from all your groups and you are leading, like vision casting, speaking to what's happening in the groups. You are drawing in people from those groups to offer testimonials. You as a leader, say clergy. I know a lot of clergy like, oh, I'm so busy trying to keep my congregation afloat, that like I don't have time for all the spiritual sustenance, for caring for people. The more you can make worship and your focus about having people in groups, and have you religious leaders, staff people, be leading, like participating in leading a phenomenal small group program where you're fulfilling the mission of your congregation through small groups, and you're speaking to what's happening in the groups continually in your worship services. You can still preach, but you should be referencing small groups. There should be integration between worship themes and small groups. You should be, I think, crowdsourcing from your small groups. Like, what are the issues that people are struggling with? What are things that people are reading, exploring, and be in partnership with your small group leaders so that collectively you are helping to run this system, and your worship service is the celebration, the weekly celebration, vision casting, and sharing from that system. All right. So no small group system. Well, this worship service ends up, if you only have that little platform, I don't think that's a viable ministry in today's world. So congregations, membership declining, you start promoting the heck out of your small group ministry program, whatever you call it. Community groups, spiritual exploration groups. I'm in touch with a lot of people from different denominations, so whatever language is right for you. But we can promoting that. People want community. A lot of you have names for your groups that are weird, churchy names. I really think that more general terms for groups like community groups, life groups, groups that you can bring people into without it like triggering their, hey, what's this weird religious thing? Covenant groups, childless groups, anything where a normal human being who's not deeply involved in a religious community, I don't want them to be freaked out by the name. So that's important. Now, last point. How do you connect, like organize and get everybody who's in the sea, the digital flood? How do you help people come to where you are? The people who aren't in the boats yet? You broadcast to everyone. We have the amazing power to broadcast using social media and especially video. So for congregations long term, for as long as we have the internet, and as long as you are seeking to reach more people, fulfill your mission in your community, whether that's different spiritual goals, addressing justice issues, bringing your values more fully into the world, addressing social isolation, whatever it is for you, that we have the power to talk to everyone about the things we're struggling with, we care about, the challenges of our world. So for every single congregation that has a paid full-time religious leader, I would like you to move towards being able to speak with ease to people online through video, great, short, simple video messages, simple but authentic, including live video, so that you can organize people as a system. People who are not yet connected, people who are in those lifeboats, people who want to know who you are, what you're about, why you exist. Like, it's if you recognize that Well, the nature of what we're doing is organizing congregations in a world that is struggling, where people are isolated, lonely, community is breaking down, people are divided, that, as that digital, it's not going away for a long time. I mean, I don't know if we'll have a day sometime when the internet doesn't exist. I hate to think of what would bring us to that point, but I think we need to prioritize, like, all right, we are doing congregational life, being of service, being leaders, doing ministry in a world that is just, the digital is the context. And so you need to be able to speak to the people who are adrift, isolated, struggling in that digital sea. Even if this is a local congregation, people are immersed in the digital constantly. And so we need to organize and lead them, recognizing that. And so for me, that's the combination of getting everybody into lifeboats, small groups, or relational structure, I should say relational structures tied to the mission, vision, purpose of the congregation, delivering on connection, community, meaning, living your values in the world together with regular services where you're helping to organize that system, and you're using the tools of our time to be of influence in people's lives, to speak to their hopes, their wants, their needs, and helping them move into relationship with you, the congregation. That's a powerful combination. So for me, it's small groups, relationship. So we are getting everybody into relationship with other human beings. Humanity needs that. And so if your congregation can prioritize that and deliver on that, including growing groups, like you can use groups to grow your congregation to the point where, hey, look, you're viable again. The death spiral's gone. You can afford staff. Maybe you can get to the point where you actually can hire an executive to lead more of the business, and clergy, you can focus more on the religious aspect. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe things have collapsed over the last couple of years. You don't have a strong children's program, children's ministry anymore. You don't have a minister. You don't have the funds. Using small groups is a very, you could say, scalable way, scale like reproduce, grow, scalable way of taking what you're doing with a smaller number of people, and very rapidly, if you promote it as, here's what we're doing, and you're clear, and you're addressing the issues that people care about, and the need for community, especially. If you do that, I think you have real hope of very quickly, especially as we move into the fall, to get the number of people you need for your congregation to, be more viable. And that's for those of you who have like a big enough congregation so you have buildings and expenses and staff, and you aspire to have full-time staff. But I just want you to know that there are ways that we can focus, simplify, and really fulfill the mission of your congregation in exciting, powerful, meaningful ways that I think isn't as brutal on your leaders. And so again, for me, that combination of small groups, using worship services, weekly services to help organize and energize the system, and continually get people into groups and make it clear that, in our world today, we need connection, we need community. There are all these things we have to do. They're the challenges, ongoing challenges of the pandemic. And so this is how we're organizing. And if you don't organize that way, well, you're constantly fighting with people drifting away. And there's always somebody who's like, I don't like small groups. I don't want to be in a small group. Well, then, Steve, you don't have to be. But the way we need to be of service to people today, to be afloat ourselves and to help people get out of, this challenging situation, disconnected, spending life alone, needing others to work on the justice issues of our time, and on and on and on, we have to organize this way. So those are things that I want you to focus on. I know some are like, well, small groups aren't my thing. Well, that tide, that digital tide, plus the ongoing challenges of the pandemic, I think you need people to be in a relationship with each other. If you're not organizing people in groups and delivering on relationship, there are a lot of ways to do that. I think you should assume that anyone who's not in a group, like ongoing group, is going to drift away over time. That's just the nature of relationship. So that's what I have for you today. I am going to be releasing my new Video Message Academy program. That's for congregations, the Congregational Edition, nonprofit, climate editions coming later. So that's video strategy for congregations. How do we help people connect with the congregation, kind of go through their exploration research and decide, yes, this congregation is right for you? How do we speak on camera, and what should we be saying as leaders to engage people with what we're doing weekly? Also working on a module on how do you kind of tweak or adjust the way you're doing worship services in designing your messages so that it's easier for people who are online to stay engaged, that you're kind of like optimizing things for attention spans today without having to change things too much. So kind of tweak that. And I know video is hard, so I'm going to be looking for people who want some direct help. Like I'm going to experiment with my helping clergy and others film the messages that I think they need, like on their websites, etc. Kind of get the ball rolling there. And of course, small groups. I co-founded the UU Small Group Ministry Network in 2004. And so small groups are really the heart of everything that I've been doing with congregations. I talk a lot about media, social media, video, but as we're bringing people in, we have to get them into relationship with the congregation. And for me, that's small groups. So if you have questions, please comment here. We'll be focusing more on kind of these two major courses, the video strategy and small group strategy, especially how do you grow small groups. I have a little different approach than I think a lot of you out there. And so I want to share that. All right, let me know if you have questions. I'm thinking of you, sending my love to all of you. I know some of you are coming out of the summer dealing with some real challenges, burnout, staffing issues. So big hugs to you. I'll be in touch very soon with how you can connect with me and new programming. And of course, I'll be sharing more content in response to your questions as we move forward. So wishing you the best. I'll talk soon.